Hey there and welcome back. I think I have this upside down. There we go. All right, so I am out here and I'm going to give you an update on the seedlings that I've planted and also kind of where I am with planting out the next round of seeds. So I planted some things a few weeks ago and most everything is starting to come up inside as well as outside. I'm going to show you. And then I know I said I was going to kind of show you how I figured out the beds and how much to put everything in. I'm still kind of figuring it out, so that's why I haven't done it. But I'll show you on here because it's kind of interesting. The area here is the area right to the left of my shed, which I'll show you in a minute. And I originally had 4 beds that I was going to... Whoops. Very windy out here. I'm trying to get these seeds in before it starts to rain. But anyway, I had 4 beds planned out, and I was like, great. I had I took my tape measure, I measured it out, I did all the stuff, and then I figured it out. And with this dotted paper, it makes it really nice so that you can kind of figure. So I had like a 36-inch bed across, 36 inch, 36 inch, 32 inch, and that was fine. And then what I did was figure out the spacings of each plant, you know, whether they're 6 inches apart or 9 inches apart or 12 inches apart or whatever. And then I figured out the amount of plants. So let's just look at this Dara. They were 3-foot by 12-foot beds. 3 foot here and then 12 foot for the entire bed. And then I divided this bed up into 3 sections and giving myself like 18 Dara plants. I had a 12 by 12 space. So I just measured, you know, I can't remember however long this was, 4 feet or something. And so then here I got 9 Queen Anne's lace, and then I had dianthus on the back end. But when all was said and done, it didn't work out that way, because when I went out to actually do the beds, I realized that the one bed is going to be in the shade way too much. So I had to kind of make them down to 3 beds. And the problem I'm having now is that I don't have room for all the plants that I might put on here. I have the Dara, the Queen Anne's lace, dianthus, poppies, achillea. It looks like some mud is getting in that, Sweet Annie. And then Nigella, Bachelor Buttons, Blue Plurum, and then Snaps and Stock. We're going to go over here. These are all growing inside my house, and the plants are getting nice and big, and soon I'll have to put these over here. But what actually happened was this. And so now I'm missing, and I did a little bit different configuration than what I have on here. And so it's time for me to now plant the Bachelor Buttons, the Nigella, and the Blue Plurum. But I'm like, where am I going to put them? So let me take you over here. In fact, we'll go the back way so you can see. I also have some pansies that I sowed, and these are not for cut flowers by any means, but at the time I sowed these, which was, I have the date on here, 10/31. Does that say 10? I guess so. So I did these on Halloween. They haven't really, you know, they're not huge by any means, but I actually did these. And, oh yeah, and these ones on 11/1. So these have just been like outside the entire time, all winter, with the exception of when it got really cold and I just brought them in, you know, in the garage. But pretty much they've been outside. So these are growing nicely. But what I've set up back here is a nice little staging area for the hardening off. So I finally finished painting the back of my shed. I'll try to back up here so you can see. There we go. And I have this great picnic table that I got for free, along with that white one over there about a month ago from a lady's house that was being knocked down. And I took that because I said, this is going to be perfect for something. And it fits the back of my shed perfectly. And I can use this space to harden off some plants. Maybe. I know it does get full sun, so if I need to, I guess I can put them underneath and then on top. But right now I'm just keeping them right here. If we get a really hard rain, I bring them into my little potting shed here. And that way they're not like decimated. But I think they're big enough now even to stay out. But over here are my beds. And these are the 3 beds I'm referring to. So this one here on the left side where there's no holes is sort of that one that I'm waiting to plant the snapdragons and the stock. So it's ready, but the plants are not ready. So, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of holding that to see. And then here I had to reconfigure a little bit. Also, where I'm standing is where the sun comes in. This is the south side where I'm standing. So I put the taller plants to the back. And here I've got poppies that are not really coming up very well, but we'll see. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have some space out here, but everything is just starting to come up. I planted these things on, let's see, 131, and today is 217. So it's not even been 3 weeks, and so things are just starting to come up. But I have poppies, 2 different kinds of poppies, and I have dianthus toward the back, and then the last few rows are Sweet Annie. So I have them all seeded. However, I don't know yet how much is actually germinating. And then over here, this is sort of my Queen Anne's Lace Dara Ami bed. So in the front I have Dara, and then I have another little bunch of Dara. I guess I didn't plant the Emmy. Well, Dara Emmy, right? That's it. And then in the back, which you might be able to see, some green coming up with the Queen Anne's Lace. They were such tiny seeds that I just put a bunch in each hole. I don't know what I'm gonna have to really thin them out. They're gonna be I'm gonna have like 800 plants of Queen Anne's Lace. But anyway, they are finally coming up, and they've been really slow. But all of this is starting to come up. But what I did do is go into the house and count, where did I write it down? How many plants I have currently inside those trays. And I don't have that many. Like, only 2 of my stock, is it the stock Costa? No, the Snapdragon Costas came up. So I have, you know, a bunch of that didn't come up, and I added up about 44 stock and about 50-ish snapdragons that are looking good. There's a few extra ones that are kind of small, so I didn't really count those. They may die out. But as far as strong plants that are growing in my trays, I don't think that's going to fit. Like, I don't think it's going to take up this whole bed. But I have to get in here now and measure out and see. What I'm saying to all of this is I may be able to plant some of the, like, Nigella or something. I'm not going to be able to do all of it. Bachelor buttons, Nigella, and Blue Plurum. I really probably need like a whole bed, but I might be able to put some of it in one of these until I have my raised beds. I ordered some raised beds. They're on the way, but I think they're coming from like somewhere very far away, like China, and I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm hoping they'll be here next week. And if I had them and they were put together, then I would plant. You know, I kind of ordered them because I knew I lost some space, and they're going to be my extra beds. So one thing I could do as I'm thinking this through is go ahead and plant this out with the Nigella, the Bachelor buttons, and the Blue Plurum like I was going to. And then when those raised beds come and I get them together filled with dirt, I can put the stock and the snapdragons in them, because they're not ready to be planted out anyway. And it's probably going to be at least another month before those are big enough to be put out. And I kind of do like this idea because the snapdragons and the stock are really cool season plants here. And it's already like in the 70s and it's February. We're getting a very warm, like, winter. And so I don't know how any of this stuff is going to do, but I know that stock is a real sensitive to the cold and the fact that it doesn't like it to be too warm. So that may actually be beneficial, because my thought is that I'm going to put those raised beds in a sunny location, and I don't have that much sun, but what I do have is over here along our deck. We had this new deck done last year, and I never came back and put any flowers or shrubs or anything kind of along the base of it, because we got really busy doing that shed. And I have this whole spot along the edge of this, as well as even like around the corner, that there's nothing planted in it, and I'm feeling like I could put those raised beds out here where there's like sun. Or I could move them into the shade. I think that's, to me, gonna be a beautiful thing here, because I got such a late start. A lot of the things that I'm growing don't like it real hot, and I don't know how things are going here, but things are already blooming. Oh, I don't know if you can see at the top of this tree here, hold on a second, is honeysuckle. It's already blooming. So we've had this really hot spell, and tonight's supposed to be 35, 36 or 35. That's not a frost, of course, but that's the only 30s I see, and then everything is in the 60s and 70s that I could see over the next 2 weeks. I really feel like things are popping, and we've had our cold. We had that cold so early in the season, and now it's been warm. This has been the warmest February I can remember in a long time, and even January was very warm. So there's been a few cool nights and a couple cool days. Like tomorrow it's going to be like 51, which is not cold, but when it's 75 today and yesterday and the day before, and then it's 50 tomorrow, but still for February, that's not too bad. So now that I'm talking this out, I think this makes a lot more sense, because otherwise that bed is just going to sit over there, and I'm not ready to put those plants in it yet. I'm not exactly sure when you put the plants out. I have to go back and look, but I feel like they need a little bit more. They're pretty small. In fact, I'll take you inside and show you. Okay, here I am back at Seeding Central. So here I have lots of things happening, and here on the end are the stock. They are really kind of chubbing up nicely. And then these two trays have the snapdragons, but as you can see, there's a lot that did not germinate. But I mean, overall, I've got, like I said, probably around 50 in there. What I did here is that I had two entire tray, like these little things, 6-packs or whatever they are. They're not really 6-packs, but they're 10-packs. That did not have any seeds. Here they are. Actually, they each had one, and I pulled them out and stuck them in another one together. Out of these costas, only these 3 came up. I had this whole one and these, and I think I used all of them up. So I don't know what happened with those, but they did not come up. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I haven't done anything with these yet, but I'm kind of like, I'm taking them out of the thing. I don't think they're gonna come up if they haven't by now. So that's a lot of plants that did not come up. So I'm like, I could go ahead and put something else in these. And it's freed up a little bit of space up under here. And now down here, the Rudbeckia is just coming up. These are the Indian Summer, and this is the Sahara. They're just little babies right now, but they're just, poking their heads up. And then up here, I have straw flower, which I have not seen anything yet. Not even a hint of the straw flower coming up. I'm hoping those are going to make it up. And I heard those are hard to germinate, so we'll see. And then here I've got my pentas. These again are just like bedding plants. I don't think they're going to be used for cut flowers, but I got these seeds like last September. And there's little tiny seeds are just starting to come up. So I have one red and then one white over here, and these are not quite as up. These are the white ones here, and they're just a few just beginning. So that's what's going on here. I did get a couple more lights. So now I have 2 full trays full, and actually this could probably be moved and put up at the top when I need it, which is going to be soon. And string those green lights so that I have like an extra along with that little one in the middle there. I don't think that really needs to be there. But these lights aren't real wide. They're sort of narrow. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So I think that might be the way of it. And then for the daisies that I need to plant, they're going out in my front bed. Okay, so I'm just walking out the front. So a couple little things are starting to happen out here. My crocus are coming up and I'm super excited. I have not seen crocus in my yard in a really long time, and I decided to just get a few and put them right here by the walkway where I would be guaranteed to see them. Oh, that one looks like a white one. And they just, the little green shoots just started coming up a few days ago and they're already flowering. I know it's really, these are like the first flowers, right? But I also have this beautiful hyacinth, and I've already picked one and brought it in the house. They smell so good. I had planted like 6 of these and I don't know what happened, but it looks like last year I only had 2 and it looks like this year I'm only gonna get 2. So maybe the other ones were no good or the squirrels got the bulbs. It's hard to say. And I have some little baby daffodils coming up here. I've cleaned up my beds a little bit. I've actually planted a bunch of dill right here. Threw the seeds down a few days ago. I need to make sure I mark that because I'm thinking that would be also a really good plant for greenery. And I pulled out that big lion paw that was here, that huge plant. I did finally get it out and I moved it to a different spot. So I'm just gonna save these beds here for herbs and small little annual things that won't take up a lot of room. And over here, my hardy geranium is blooming. Cranesbill is another word for it. I've never had one before, but these little flowerets popped up and are open and they're so cute. I'm loving it. And I have some other things, like there's ranunculus, and here are the big ranunculuses that were in the pots. So we'll see, those will be blooming soon-ish. I don't know how long they'll be, but those are all coming up. And then I have a lot of little volunteer seedlings from last year's flowers. In fact, there's tons in here. So as far as like things for early bouquets, yesterday I went and sat down at my computer and tried to figure out, based on, you know, the days to maturity or when it'll flower, I put it on, because I said, I don't know when these things are going to be ready. Like, will I have things ready for Mother's Day? Like, I needed to see. So it really helped me to go through everything I'd already planted, and then some things I just sat down and was like, okay, if I plant this now, when will it be ready? And so it was very helpful for me to say, okay, good. I do have like an early flush of some things that'll probably be end of March and April, but most things are going to be at least May before they're ready. But I will say that I do have all of these volunteers that have reseeded. These are all Queen Anne's lace that are getting quite large, and I know will grow really fast because they've been here since, you know, January. Well, no, they've started coming up before the holidays. They just reseeded themselves. I also have some, I think that ferny thing is the nigella. I know I had nigella planted here, and I think there's also one over here. I had nigella planted back here. I think there's just a mixture of all kinds of things. You know, when it seeds, it seeds. I guess the lupins aren't gonna come back. They came up really pretty last year, but they never flowered, and then I haven't seen anything since, so I don't know what's gonna happen. There were some lupins I put seeds and they did come up, but nothing. Because look inside this. If you look in there, see all those little babies? Those are the alyssum, and it's all reseeded. So I don't even have to plant more alyssum. They just self-sow. Cool. But look at this. This Queen Anne's lace is, I think it's Queen Anne's lace, believe it is already quite large. And there's some poppies, and I don't know, maybe these are poppies? I don't think I had any nigella over here, so that's what I'm not sure. It was things I just started growing for the first time last year, so I'm not really sure. But there's some more. So I will have some out here, basically is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm covering it up with my finger here. I will have some of these Queen Anne's lace. Actually, as you can see, there's quite a few. And some poppies seeds I planted. probably back in January, December maybe. So I'm gonna have like a mixture of things that will help complement some of the things that I've put in the back. Some of these fast growing things like the poppies, the bachelor buttons, and some things that I already have started, like the stock. So I've got some things, but as far as like consistent, you know, blooms, I think it's gonna be at least May-ish before I really see anything, and I think that's fine. This is all a trial run for me. Oh, it looks like some daffodil things are starting to come up, but back over here I have my daffodils. I'm trying to gather all the daffodils that I had and bring them out here because I had them in the backyard and they never bloomed because there wasn't enough sun. So I have a little sunny spot here. But if you look, I took down those privets and have really opened up the space for the cut flower garden. I just have to get the rest of those stumps out. I cut them down and then it got too thick at the bottom for the thing I was using. Our apple tree is almost done flowering. If you can see, the flowers are out, but the leaves are out, and it's very early. The bees are still all over them, and I hope they're getting pollinated well. Our little friend, the Dorset apple here, I hope it's still alive. It doesn't look like, oh yeah, there's some buds on the end of that. It's gonna be slow growing for that one. But out here are the gardens that I have set aside for what I was gonna do out here is have more of the focal flowers and the perennial type plants in this bed. And so what I have is that I have these divided into two, as you can see, right? I have the walkway that I started in the middle here. So there's a long bed. There's actually 4 beds, right? I have a walkway going through. And the way I'm going to do it is half this bed. So I'm gonna just do it all the way down, half the bed. On the back is gonna be sunflowers, and then the front is going to be rudbeckia. And of course, I'll have the different kinds. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna need more room than that. The bed is 4 foot. It's not quite 4 foot. It's about 3.5 feet, I think. So I could probably have 2 rows of sunflowers and 2 rows of rudbeckia. I have to plant the way the sun comes in, and the way the sun comes in is from here. Where's my thing? Here over. Let me see. It comes in from here over. So the tallest things need to be here at the back. See where these bushes are? So I need to plant the sunflowers there and then kind of scale down as it comes more toward the front, knowing where my sun is. Now I've just opened up, because before these privets were hanging and blocking all the afternoon sun. Now these beds will get a lot more sun. And in the front side, I've got zinnias, marigold, and daisy to be across. So these daisies that I'm going to plant, I'm going to put them right in the front. I think also they take a really long time. I looked on there and it's like 200 to almost 300 days. Good Lord. So these daisies that I'm planting may end up being like August and September before they're ready. There's a nice dandelion. So I think what I might do right now is put these daisies in right here in the front. I have these strawberries still in here. My plan was to kind of let them go until they flower and then remove them. And I think that would be, I can still do that. I didn't want to move them now and then they don't produce. And it's not like I need them this minute. So that's what I've got going on here. These beds need a little bit more dirt. And I have to do the plastic. So to do these daisies, I would need to come cover this bed right here with plastic and burn the holes. And I don't know that I have time to do it today. If I do, I will, but I don't have a ton of dirt. So I'd have to take some dirt and move it over here. We're going to get more dirt, but I'm kind of waiting for those raised beds to come because I need like half a yard in here. And then the other half a yard could fill those beds. Otherwise I won't have any place for that dirt. I don't want it just sitting around. So I'm gonna wait till the beds come and get put together, then we'll get more dirt. And then, I mean, if those Rebecchias you saw are really small, it's gonna take a little while before they're ready to be put out here. So in the next couple weeks, and it'll probably be around the time to start my sunflowers as well, because it's gonna be so warm here. I don't think I'll have any problem getting these sunflowers to come up and germinate. So I could probably start putting them in very soon. And I'm gonna wait a little bit because I don't want so many flowers all at once. I have to spread out. I don't even know yet who's gonna be buying these. So it's all kind of a crapshoot. The marigold and the zinnias are gonna be more like the summery flowers, so I'm not doing them yet. I'm just trying to get some of these that take a long time. And then the sunflowers I know only take like 60 days or 65 days, something like that. So I'll be putting them in, I think I had April 1st, so April and May. And so by June 1st, I should have sunflowers. And I could even do them sooner if these beds are ready. So that's kind of my plan. That's what's been going on. I hope that helped you a little. It wasn't like a true planning, video, but I'm showing you what I'm doing and how I'm working through it. And that's the way it goes. You could put it all down on paper, but once you really get out and see your land and how it's going to work, that's what it takes. And I've lived here for almost 25 years, so it's not like I don't know my land, but still, like for doing this, it's a little bit different. And yeah, so I'm gonna go now and get some planting done, and I'll see you soon. All right, well, I just burned the holes in that final bed over here. In fact, you might be able to see out my window here. Right there, in that first bed, I burned all the holes, and it takes maybe 10 minutes at the most. It's so easy to do this. I was very intimidated, but I think I showed you before how to do it. I didn't need a template. I didn't do anything fancy. I literally take my tape measure. I look, I start at the end, and if it's 6 on center, I hold this out and I burn in the center of the hole, and then I just keep moving it, and then I check both directions, 6 by 6 or 9 by 9 or whatever. So I did the nigella and the bachelor buttons at 6, and I did the bupleurum at about 9. I know it says 10 on the pack, but at this point I'm only gonna have 20 plants in there for that first round as it is, and I kind of squished them in a little. So I've got that. So now all I have to do is, it's starting to rain a little. I'm gonna go out here and now do the seeding. I've got my 3 packs. I've got my bachelor buttons. I've got my bupleurum. And these nigellas are from last year's seeds here. They are a mix of the 2 kinds. I did not know which was which when I grabbed my seed pods, and it didn't matter to me at the time. So I'm just gonna plant them, and whatever comes up, comes up. I mean, I felt one's a blue and one's like a white. So I think they're both, beautiful, and I'm just gonna put some seeds down and see. So I'm getting ready to go out there now and just finish up. And the rain is coming like a light rain, so I wanted to get this in. And I'll be done with the outside, and then all I have to do is go inside and do, there's something I have to do on the inside, and then my daisies will wait till Sunday because I have to grab my plastic and put the plastic down out in that front bed and then burn the holes, and it's just about to rain, so I don't have time to do it. But it feels good. It feels like this is my second round of seeds, and things are looking up, and I'm super excited. And soon when I look out my window here, there'll be beautiful plants. I think what I also need to think about doing now is covering up those walkways with some heavy mulch or pine needles or something here, so that I won't have to constantly be weeding. So I will be working on that too.